Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, rolling solo with you today. And the topic, as you would expect, as we are now fully ensconced in Carolina football season, it is North Carolina football. And I'm going to take a look at the sack disparity from the Tar Heels opener to the second game against App State. Before I dive into that, quick reminder, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. We'll have something on them shortly, but that is underdogfantasy.com. Go ahead and go over there, win this video after you finish watching this video. All right, so Carolina had 9 sacks against South Carolina, no sacks against App State, 16 TFLs against South Carolina, 4 against App State. What was the difference? Well, the conventional thought is defense didn't play that well. I do think that the defense was beaten at the line of scrimmage, the point of attack more, the defensive front, more by App State than it was by South Carolina. Mac Brown said, hey, didn't have a great week of practice. The kids sat there and watched film. They watched Gardner-Webb have some success against App State. They're coming off the emotion of the weekend before with game day, ABC, primetime, emotional win over a team that gave them some validation, some credibility. And the game after App State is a Big Ten club, Minnesota, coming into Chapel Hill. So he said it was sort of one of those trap games. Given all the reasons we said last week on these drops that North Carolina should have absolutely no problem getting up for App State, there was all the reason in the world to be fired up and ready to roll. It just wasn't the case. The Tar Heels were ready to play, but not at the level they were, I don't think, against South Carolina. It showed throughout the game. They got beaten. Gives App State credit. It's a good program. It's a good team. And the Mountaineers found ways to neutralize Kamen Rucker, and they found ways to win a lot of battles at the line of scrimmage. But I'm going to go a little bit more into detail. Monday, we had Mac Brown and defensive coordinator Gene Chizik at their weekly press conference. We got into this, asked a lot of questions about it, got some information from them, and maybe a little bit better understanding. I'm going to dive into that in just a minute. But first, let's go ahead and hear a word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy.
I'm very excited to announce our new partnership with Underdog Fantasy. We decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and is also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. Now, Underdog Fantasy has a lot to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. You can 20x your money by going 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, definitely need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with promo code HEAL and get your first deposit doubled by up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with promo code HEAL, HEEL, to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. You must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you are concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
All right, we appreciate Underdog Fantasy partnering with us. You're going to hear from them most of this football season. We have a nice arrangement really through November with Underdog Fantasy. So make sure you go over there. And remember, guys, if you sign up using the promo code HEAL, HEEL, you get to save. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Okay, 9 sacks against South Carolina, no sacks against App State. They average 4.5 sacks a game. They'll take that the rest of the season, stick it in the back pocket, and sprint to the bank laughing. No doubt about it. So don't expect 9 sacks. Don't expect 4.5 sacks. But the lack of TFLs, there wasn't a tremendous amount of pressure. A lot of people were highly critical on social media, people asking us questions on our board, email, whatever the case may be. What was the problem? Why didn't Gene Chizik's defense rack up numbers like it did the week before? Well, one of the things is the fact that Spencer Rattler has a lot of deep drops. They run a lot of long routes. They have Juice Wells, they have Leggett, they have some guys that can get down the field and get open. App didn't approach things that way. They had a much shorter, get rid of the ball quickly approach to the passing game. Had a backup quarterback, got a little experience against Gardner the week before, but a season earlier, he was playing community college ball in California. He had 8 touchdowns and 4 interceptions in 2022 playing community college ball. So App simplified the game plan, and the mission was get rid of the ball quickly and let some guys do some stuff with their feet. And when that happens, and they're not allowed to run long routes, it's harder to accumulate sacks. It's harder to get to the quarterback and make a move. Now, Carolina did make a move occasionally, especially as the game went on. Des Evans had one of his best games. And if you look at the App State quarterback completion percentage, it dropped as the game went on because he was forced to move a little bit, became a little bit more difficult. But the other part of this is the fact that the coverage wasn't great. Mac talked about it after the game. Got to play tighter coverage. Gene talked about it, and Mac talked about it Monday again. Got to play tighter coverage. Mac even threw the word press in there, press coverage. So what happens here is if you've got a short, get rid of the ball quickly stuff going on with the quarterback, if you're playing off, you're giving them completions. You're giving them stuff underneath, and they're able to work their way down the field. This was a problem last year, but it was a different kind of problem. Last year, it was because the staff simply didn't trust the corners to cover. They did not want to get beat over the top. This year, they have guys they trust more to cover, especially when Elijah Huzzy is at corner, and he actually started the game at corner Saturday night. DJ Jones started at star. DJ played about 35, 36 snaps at star the rest of the time. Huzzy was there. So Tayon Holloway got a ton of snaps playing corner, got 63 in his second game as a college football player, and he did a little bit better, but I don't think that he's a lockdown guy yet. Marcus Allen is proving to be a little bit more of a potential lockdown guy. He is on occasion. The big stops Carolina got from the corner spot late in the game was when Huzzy was out there the last couple of plays that App State ran in the second overtime. So if you play up more and you simply disrupt immediately at the line of scrimmage and you're in tighter coverage, you're in what Matt called press, then that changes things. If the coverage is there, quarterback's got to roll till he finds somebody. So it's not just the defensive front. It's the secondary and coverage as well. They work hand in hand when it comes to sacks. So it isn't just that the front got beat or they just didn't have a lot of success. The coverage scheme and plan didn't lend itself to them having a little bit more success, get into the quarterback, forcing him to throw the ball away, maybe forcing him to throw into coverage. Carolina got 1 pick. Maybe they could have gotten a couple more had they forced a young, inexperienced quarterback to have to create more at a level that he hadn't previously seen. Being a community college, then he sees Gardner Webb, and whoa, there's North Carolina. So I think you'll probably see some tweaks in the scheme if what they said Monday comes to fruition, because it was pretty clear. Max said tighter coverage, and he, like I said, he threw the word press out there. So it'll be interesting to see moving forward, especially if teams are trying to get rid of the ball quickly. If they are, and that's their plan, let's see if the Carolina corners play up closer. If they do that, then they're challenging the opponent to beat them over the top. And Max said, hey, look, if they throw the top and they get one every once in a while, it's fine. You can't let them pick their way down the field. So that's something to keep an eye on this week against a Minnesota team that is not super explosive, that probably looks at the film and says, hey, if they're giving us 5, 6, 7 yards and we could get a couple more with our legs, let's take that and keep marching forward and keep that offense off the field. I bet that's Minnesota's plan this weekend coming in. And if it is, how do the Tar Heels counter? If what they said Monday is so, then I think you'll see something a little bit different. Once again, thanks a lot to Underdog Fantasy. Remember, the promo code is HEEL, and they will double your deposit up to $100. If you like this video and you want to see Carolina play tighter pass coverage, go ahead and click like, share this video, subscribe, hit the notifications so you get an update every time we upload, which is often. Don't forget, guys, for just $8.33 a month, you can be a Tar Heel insider too. TarHeelIllustrated.com. It's less than a meal in a drive-through restaurant. You go ahead and order any number outside of a kid's meal, and boom, we're cheaper than that And it's the same price we've been for 10 years since I took over this site. Appreciate you stopping by. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow.